So what was the first band that you had commercial success with then? Because there's been some really impressive ones.
Yeah, I mean, I would honestly say it would be the word that most people will avoid now, actually. And I would say it would be Lostprophets. I mean, we had we did have success with Kill to this, but not on the scale that you would have described that as, really. But I mean, the Lostprophets story was, if the whole story was like 16 to 18 years of my life. It was long. Yeah. And I remember seeing them at the Barfly, which is the Camden Falcon at the time, which is now Flats, I think, near Quinns in Camden, just over there, actually. But I remember seeing them and thinking that there's definitely something. You know, when something really hits you, it hits you in your chest and your stomach.
Yeah.
And you get it's all about the feels, and you genuinely feel like there's something there. That was 100% what happened there. And I remember there was a guy called Sean who used to run a magazine called Organ. That's a long time ago. You're a lot younger than me. but Sean was there as well. And I remember panicking and thinking, oh my God, I've got to get this band. Because he would sign everything to Organ Records. So I had to kind of sort of grit my teeth and just go in and be a bit scrappy and fighty about it. Not in a bad way, obviously, but, you know.
What did that label look like then? That deal look like? Because were you expecting them to be huge? Did they have management? Did they have anything else around them? Or
they had no management at the time. It was crikey. It was quite some time before Q Prime came on board there, actually. I would say it would be about at least 18 months to 2 years, because we released Fake Sound without anyone else being involved. That was just literally me and the band, and really good PR people and radio people who I still work with now, actually. But there was literally nothing else around it. The one thing that I will say about that is that the Welsh communities, the Welsh media, all of the TV people, there was a thing up there called the Pop Factory that was insanely supportive. So all of that really, really helped. And having Wales is a very small place. I mean, Wales is like a town compared to a lot of places, you know. But that element of national pride that they brought was absolutely fantastic, because it's almost like everybody knew somebody in the band, you know, or they were related to Tom Jones or something like that. It's a tiny, tiny place, but there was a genuine outpouring of really goodwill for them.
I mean, how did that translate then when you signed the band, with there being a huge amount of support coming from there? Did the rest of the country respond to that, or was it just really unbalanced for a little bit of time?
I think press-wise we did quite well, and also their agent, we got them with Mike at ITB, so their agent was doing a really good job of getting them on loads of shows and things like that. But Wales is definitely instrumental, but also a really amazing publication called the PRP. Do you remember this? Pimp Rock Palace? It was you would call it it's almost like a new metal blog that was just online. So it's where loads of people went to find out about new bands, and they were so insanely supportive. But it was based over here, but it was huge in the States. So it created this sort of ripple effect that kind of hit London, Cardiff, and Los Angeles. So we got flown out to LA because there was a big bidding war with loads of large labels, shall we say, over there.
That's pretty cool. How quick was that commercial success then, from signing them to it being a famous band?
Depends what you careful what you define as famous. But I would say it was still about 3 years before things really started moving, because it would have been on Start Something there, really. And I mean, from the beginning, it was signed in 98. I can't even remember when Start Something came out, but I would say 3 years before things really, really started moving, and we were looking at number 2 albums and stuff like that. It's and there's a lot of blood, sweat and tears that went on behind the curtains there as well. There's a lot of work. And I mean, there's a lot of people in that band who put in so much work. I mean, Lee Gaze is probably still one of the best guitarists, I think, that's ever existed. And I don't think he's ever had the credit for it, really.
It's a shame that everything they've done since is sort of tinted.
Yeah.
Obviously it's hard for them to come out and do anything new and it get recognition, because if they use their name, then it instantly is tainted. And if they don't use the name, then they're starting from scratch. It's really a shit situation to be in. I
mean, when the No Devotion project came out, which I really, really love, and the Kerrang Award was given for that, I think that was one of the nicest pieces of validation that the industry could have given them, because it was still recognising the fact that they're great musicians, they're great writers, they create great tracks, and it's something that was almost given back to them when everything had been taken away. I mean, most of them still work in music. I mean, Stu's got a studio. Lee's still doing, like, sort of... Lee runs a coffee shop, or he did. I don't know what he's doing now. I must speak to him today, actually. That's I'll be texting him this afternoon. But and then Mike's in LA. He's doing some stuff with interior design, and Jamie's an artist. And obviously Luke is in Lowlives. God, I was like an ad.
Yes.
Lowlives, great band, by the way, and great record. Not even signed to me, but it's a really good
But you're pushing it.
Yeah.
So when obviously the shit did hit the fan with everything,
Yeah.
on your side of things, what did that look like from you getting the call and finding out what was happening? And
I remember getting the call. It was the 12th of December, and I think it was 2012. God, honestly, she's got me dates ready. But I remember I was standing outside Papagoni's on Stroud Green Road, and I got a call from the manager saying there was something, and it wasn't actually what had actually happened. It was just like, it's not good. And I'm like, okay. And we were just gearing up to do another, like, sort of big project with them as well. And then things kind of spiraled out from that. And that was a long process, I think, really. But speaking to the lads, it's like, something like that happens, and you would imagine people would know what's going on, or it would be in plain sight or anything like that. But it seemed a lot of things had been happening without people knowing about it. But
I mean, the level of how fucked up it was, like, sort of, I think validates them not knowing. Because like, there's no way any sane person could have even an inkling of what's going on, and ignore it or support it. So there's just no way that any of them had a clue.
I mean, everybody's a real straight down the line person in that band, and that's the thing. And I mean, out of all of the things that could have happened, there's no way I thought it would have been anything like that either. Yeah. And it's a real shame, because that was one of the biggest bands of that era, and it affected a lot of people's lives. And I mean, there's people walking around with tattoos and stuff on their bodies, you know, and it's insane.
There were huge, like, I can't remember, Reddit threads or something of people having to cover the tattoos, because there was like thousands of people that had tattoos.
Yeah. And I mean, there's still loads of Reddit threads, and I mean, there's still stuff that pops up on YouTube daily on it. And I can't even get it out of my, out of my feed. Do you know what I mean? So it's a daily reminder of what happened, and it's awful. But I mean, for the label, it was absolutely catastrophic, because I'd spent 16 years of my life, and at that time it was like, nearly half my life working on it and working with them. And it was just, it's just really, really hard for them to have everything taken away, especially because they'd invested. I mean, these are people with wives, kids, everything. It was a good living for them, and everything like that's taken away in one go. And you got to reevaluate your life and think, why have you spent all the time doing that? It's horrendous. And for such a great bunch of creative people as well. We had some great fun working through those years, honestly. Mad things happened. All of the stuff in LA, and oh God, it was insane. It was brilliant. I mean, I just don't think it would happen now. That world's changed. That world's gone.
With that on the money side of things, with the label and Lostprophets, what was the final financial impact? Because I presume you had a lot of money in the back catalogue that suddenly doesn't...
It's just disappeared, yeah. Well, put it this way, I don't do the label anymore, do I? It took me a long time to get my head around that. And because, I mean, I'd spent a long time doing it, and it was my identity. I mean, my Twitter's still Julie Visible. I still sign in as Julie Visible for a lot of stuff, because it's still really part of me. But I mean, the whole impact on that was that we just couldn't afford to sign other artists, because obviously money that comes in, gets paid back to an artist. The residuals come in and keep us afloat, and then allow us to expand on other people. And that just didn't happen anymore. That was really sad, actually, to be quite honest.
So that literally was like the end of the label?
No, the label like sort of stopped in about 2006. So it was, 2016, beg your pardon. But that left a scar on me, I think, really, because I'd felt it was part of my identity had been taken away as well. And I felt like people were looking at me slightly. I had a bit of a wobble, bit of a crisis of conscience about being in indie, and because I was attacked for all of that stuff as well. I had not physically, but I was getting a lot of like flack on the internet, and I was getting like sort of messages to the office and stuff, photos of the office door. That was the scary one, really scary one. So that was obviously dealt with.
So was there a lot of that? Did it fall on you disproportionately?
Yeah, because I suppose that the label wasn't a label. It was me. And I suppose if you look at Music for Nations, it's Sony. Yeah. You know, it's not the same kind of... We've got a great barrier there if we need it, but I mean, we're still very accessible anyway. But I mean, for Visible Noise, it was always just me. And that was probably like a really terrifying 3 years, I would say, for me.
Is that how long it lasted with you getting...
Yeah, it was horrible.
Shit.
Yeah, that was... Just don't be visible on the scene, people. but it went away. And I mean, obviously, why I was nowhere near what the lads had.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I guess like the knock-on effect is that it affects everyone involved. So, I mean, the PR aspect of that, was that a big deal, or was it just sort of like we can't do anything, we need to keep quiet? Or...
We just have to step away. I mean, I couldn't comment because I wasn't there with the lads as much as when they were on the road. But also, they weren't there when these things are happening. So it's just, it's just the worst case scenario of feeling powerless, I suppose.